So in front of me, I have the new hybrid wave with the old school detachables. And in this video, we're going to figure out, are detachables going to be extinct? Let's get into the video.
CTB, you know who it is.
YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy ConcisetheBarber, doing product reviews, concise reviews, all the product reviews when it comes to the hair industry and more. We are going to be talking about the new hybrid wave of adjustable clippers with the detachable mechanism compared to the old school detachable clippers. And we're going to try to figure out if the detachable clippers are going to be extinct or not, or is this new wave is just an add-on piece to what we have already. So let's get straight into this. I'm going to talk about what came before the hybrid. We're going to talk about legacy, right? We're going to talk about all the OG detachables and honestly, what do they really have to offer? We had the classic 76s, we had the Andis BGRCs, you had the Oster Model 10, you had the Octanes we have right here, you had the Andis Supras, the ZRs, and the Andis Supra ZR2s, and also we have the Heinegger ones right here, which recently just did come out. Now, these are the powerhouses. If you know anything about detachables, you probably knew, especially when you was a kid. If you're not a, if you're a new beginning barber, you might not understand this part. But when I was younger, everybody had a classic 76. Everybody had detachable clippers. They were the powerhouses. These are the things that was built for tough, basically. This is the bulk remover of it all. These are the go-to for thick hair, coarse hair, and everything of that nature. And they also did give out great fades. So why is this something that people really invested in other than the fact that it was a bulk remover? Well, not only that, but this is a trust and worthy type of product. The clipper lasts a long time. It was durable, reliable, and people had this same clipper for decades. I had mine for at least about 6-7 years now. It has not skipped a beat on me. Like, it's a really reliable clipper that you can have, and it's durable. You can drop it in. Most likely this won't have more wear and tear on an adjustable clipper. That could probably break a lot faster than these could. Now, if you're aggressive and you just jack it up, you just jack it up. But these right here, man, these are some OGs and they have a certain sound to them. The rotary motor, the power, the torque, just all of that. It's just an amazing product. And a lot of people liked it because, for real, it was something that you can use in a barber shop. Let's say you had high volume. A lot of people use detachables because they can always switch out the blades. They had certain measurements, precise measurements, and it cut very, very well. Since the blades were metal cutting blades, you really couldn't get nothing past them. Now, I will say that that might seem scary for beginning barbers, but I'll talk about that in a second. These were a staple in the barbering industry. And for some, they still are. But we have something else that has come to the industry in a sense. Some of the reasons why these might be dying out is that the people tend not to like the fact that, for one, that these are bulkier. The ergonomics is not the best. They do have some sound to them. They can be a little bit noisy. And that was one of the things, like, honestly, old school barbershop, all I smelled was Andis Cool Care and heard these things running. To be honest, every time I went to the barbershop. So, that sound. Anybody that has, gotten a cut from them when they were younger will understand what I'm saying. People don't like the price point of where detachables are today. There's so much stuff that has come out and prices have been affordable. So now when you look at the prices for detachable clipper, you're looking at around $325 and up. There's some might even be in the fours, but $325 for majority of them. I'll say that's like the average price for detachables. Now, also with that is that they don't like the fact that these blades, you get one blade that comes with it, but the blades are pricey too. So you're looking at, $325 plus, I'll say $30 for each blade. And that can have a sting on some people because you're going to need more than one blade when you're using detachables. Most of the times I see people have a 3/4 or 3.5 and down all the way to a 5/0 blade. So that's like 7 to 8 blades in itself. So 8 times 30 is 240 in itself. So 240 on top of 325, you're spending close to almost $550, $600 to make sure that you can rock out with a detachable. Now, that sounds like a lot for some people, and I can understand why, you feel that way. The durability, reliability, having this one clipper for 10 years, that's where another side of it is that some people like. That is the legacy. They started this. We actually use our measurements, honestly, when it comes to the detachable blades. People like their measurements, the precise measurements that they have, and we honestly use them as an adjustable. Most of the times when you say a blade it opens up to a 1, we're referring that to a detachable blade measurement of a 1. So that being said, they started it. Another thing that people might not like about the detachables is that the limited flexibility of you gotta have, not only do the blades cost, but you don't have no adjustable lever with them. So even though some barber schools, they'll have them in your kit, some will say that they're not beginner friendly, and there's no room for no forgiveness. Adjustable clippers give you that option, but detachables don't. And also, like I said, even though that these just came out, a lot of companies have not been innovating when it comes to detachable clippers. Now, the Octanes, I still have these. I heard these might be phasing out. There could be some other brands and other clippers that might be phasing out, but you haven't seen much innovation. You haven't seen much news about detachable clippers. So that could be another reason why that these old school detachable clippers might be dying out. But let's get to the hybrid. Let's see why people probably value this more. What is the pros, cons, and all that stuff? Where do they really fit, right? So that being said, most people are going to call this the best of both worlds, because you get the mechanism of it being detachable right here, and you can just pop that on and you still have the click lever. Some people are going to say that having that option in itself, flexibility is the best, because you get the best of both worlds. Well, what I mean by the best of both worlds also is that not only does this blade fit on this clipper, but also you can put this Phenom blade on this clipper. You can pop this off, put this blade on this clipper, and it's a fat blade. So taper blades, fade blades, even a fat blade, you switch this bad boy out and you got yourself a different style of cutting. Coarse hair, straight hair, whatever blade that you want to use, you can do that. A lot of people are liking that option when it comes to the hybrid. I'm gonna call it the hybrid when it comes to the hybrid adjustable clippers. So that being said, I can see why a lot of people turn to this when it comes to like the blades and stuff like that. Now, I have to be honest with you, when it comes to price, these are a lot cheaper. You can find this for around, so far what I've seen in price ranges from the high being 200 to like 140, 150 when it comes to the adjustable clipper with the detachable mechanism. Now, Andis has this, Blade and Stone, VGR, and there's some other companies and other brands that are coming out with this type of mechanism. But I have to say that that is something I can see why this is so more towards the future than more people trying to like tune in with these. A lot of people like these. Like I said, it's lightweight, has better ergonomics than the Octanes or the detachable clippers. The length of them, how they feel in your hand, all of that stuff, it does matter. And you actually can do a lot of high volume clients with these too, because you can always continue to switch out the blade. The blade gets too hot, you can switch it out and call it a day. You can have two Phenom blades, two phase blades. You can have this stuff set up in a certain way that's going to work for you. So honestly, like, I have no problem with people seeing that the hybrid is basically going to take over detachables as is, and people are liking this more. It's easier to clean and to maintain. I will have to be real with you, is that for today's type of style, this innovation has seemed to stop, and this seems to be starting, and a lot of more brands are getting more in tune with this than compared to this. Now, I have to be honest, even in today, in 2025, do I think that it's best to have both or just one? Asking somebody that has experienced it as a child, getting cut by them, and also now using them, I still see the room that these have, but I definitely see that these might take over. Just being real, I have to say that when it comes to detachable blades and using detachable clippers and the power and that they offer, and the blades, the makeup of the blades, the consistency of how they cut every time. It never fails. It never fails. I'm only saying it because it's very, very rare that this clipper with a one guard is gonna cut kind of off or something can happen. Now, I will have to say with these, the adjustables, you're still gonna have to rely on the plastic guards. You're still gonna have to rely on putting a guard number on top of these with these. With these, you don't. But I feel like there is no other mechanisms that can get loose on the original OGs. This is what it is. If this says it's a 1.2 millimeters, it's a 1.2 millimeters. The adjustable clippers can be affected. They can get loosened. Sometimes it can go, it can, you know, and that's all about maintenance at that point, but it can get over the steel blade and you're gonna have to adjust it. It's rare that I have to adjust these, you know, like they are strong and firm, you know, as they are. So nothing wrong with that. The precision of how they debulk and fade. There are some people out there that will say that detachables give out the best fades because of how they are in their blade setup. Some will say that they give out the best fades. Now me, I honestly will have to say I like how they both fade. And I think they both give out clean fades depending on your setup on your adjustable clipper with the blade that you use. So some people will lean it towards more of detachable blades when it comes to fading, how smooth of fade that they give. But some people will give it to the adjustables due to the fact that click lever and the forgiveness that you have. These don't have no forgiveness. So it's more so like, you know exactly what you're doing, like very, very well. And you can showcase it how clean that can look, or you're gonna lean more towards this because you like the flexibility, the versatility of switching out the blades and the click lever or the lever. That, I mean, to me, it's more of those two different type of like perspectives, but there is like team detachables and there's like team adjustables. But the fact that this is a detachable as well, this is why it gets that name of best of both worlds. Now, I will say so far that what I have noticed is that these detachable clippers seem to last a little bit longer than adjustable clippers. So when I say durability, I haven't seen much bad go wrong with detachable clippers at all. I think that is something that some people will like. Now, this is something that might give it up more on the adjustables, especially if you know how to use them compared to the adjustables. Most people that have used these will say that they cut a lot faster with detachable clippers than they do compared to an adjustable clipper. The fact that you're probably going to use this blade for a certain amount of time, every time, you'll probably figure out your system foundation a lot quicker. So me using an OA blade, I say a minute to a minute and a half, and then I'm switching out to the next blade. I'm rarely probably going to put that OA back on. Now, with an adjustable, you could probably use the blade open, let's say for a minute and a half, but now you got the one blade and then you'll do the two blade and the three blade. I'm saying like you would do with the detachable. But the difference is that I noticed that most of the times we go back and use something again. With this detachable, it's like if I use that 3-out blade, that's the only time I'm using it and I'm putting it down, I'm not touching it again, I'm on to the next blade. With this, we might start out with the blade open, we'll do all our guards, and then we'll come back with the blade open to finish and clean up the cut. Most of the times you don't have to finish and clean up the cut with detachables. You're actually doing it as you go because that blade that you're using is so precise that you don't have to adjust much when it comes to detachable blades. So some people will say that the OGs actually cut faster compared to these. So I think that's an interesting take. I would love to know your take on that. That's one of the things that I feel like, for me, in my experience, they do cut faster than the adjustables. Even though that these are detachable, with the detachable mechanism, you're still gonna have to put guards on them. So what some people will say about these is that, well, these are so versatile that I can just continue to switch out the blade and get to the desired length that I really want no matter what. Nothing wrong with that, you know, especially if you have a phenom blade and a fat blade. Now you're starting to get that real feel of what a detachable blade system really feels like without using guards. So that being said, you can go that route too. So some people like the versatility that this really does offer compared to the $550 to $600 offer. Like, some people are going to look at that like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Some people find value in it, some people don't. With this one, even if you do get multiple blades, and I will have to say, even the blades are a little bit costly, but it's still not going to hit that price point of the $550 to $600. So let's say if you got 4 blades, these 4, I'll say 4 of these blades, let's say if they're $50 each, that's $200, but this clipper is still $150. You're only spending $350 to have multiple options of a detachable, adjustable clipper compared to $550. So you're still saving a lot of money. One of the things I was talking about with the adjustable, it is more beginner friendly because you have the lever and you can adjust, you know, as you go. And this has more flexibility because if you're using a fade blade, if you're using a taper blade, you have room for forgiveness compared to this not having such. It's just, that's the length you say you want, that's what you're gonna get no matter what you do. With the taper blade, it tapers out, it gives you some forgiveness, and you really, as a beginner, you really can figure out how to use that clipper a lot faster compared to these. And also another thing is that more brands, as y'all see, are investing in this compared to this. So what you kind of see today, you can see that this is more so phasing out, but these are, you know, kind of taking over. As a barber that uses both, I do see the value in having both, but I can understand if some are just going to go with the new hybrid with these blades. And I also think it's kind of dope for those that still are considering the old school detachables, because to me, you do have a learning curve with these. You learn so much. And honestly, I think it's so beneficial to understand these lengths and this type of power in the way that these cut, that actually will make you even better in this system. But that's just my thoughts on that. But this is the new wave. This is the new hybrid. This is the old school. Are they phasing out? Is this going to take over completely, or are they going to share in the industry? I'm curious. I want to know what y'all think about it. I'm curious, honestly, what the brands are going to do about this, and if they're going to continue to just rock the new wave, or is somebody going to try to still give us value with the detachable clippers as well? So that's my video. Let me know, where you at with it. You rocking with the hybrid, or you rocking with the OG, or would you rather to benefit from both, learning both styles and leveling up your skills on both of these? So I'm curious and want to know where you're at with this. Thank y'all. God bless. I'll see y'all in the next video.
CTB. You know who it is.